Now he quits barking. There goes it. Science happens. And happiness comes back.
Today, we're going to finish up the video editing desk. Stay tuned. Brandon made some strips that will go along the top perimeter of the desk. He's going to weld those onto the lower structure, and then he'll be able to run some screws up through them into the wooden part of the desk. He's going to go ahead and get them all ground smooth and ready to weld on. Next, Brandon's going to center punch his holes where he's going to drill them with the drill press. Now that he's got his holes drilled, he's going to go ahead and get them finished, cleaned up, and ground totally smooth before he can weld them onto the desk. He needs to get the back piece ground smooth on the edges so it's ready to weld on to the sides of the structure of the desk. Brandon had 3/8 of an inch too much on one end, so he's got to plasma that off real quick before we can weld the sides of the desk onto it. Now that he's got that plasma cut off, he's going to take our snap-on die grinder and grind the edge off with a roll-lock disc so it's nice and smooth and ready to weld onto the other part of the desk. We're finally ready to weld all three pieces of the desk together. Let's do this. We got that side welded on. Let's weld on this side now. Now that he's got all three pieces of the desk welded together, he can weld the strips on that's going to actually, the screws will actually run through into the wooden part of the upper part of the desk. Off camera, Brandon cut out some extra gussets to put on the back so to make the desk extra strong. Next, Brandon's going to take the gussets he made for the back and he's going to drill them and dimple them.
When I set the camera up all super nice and then I forget to press record, which happens a lot. So, this is what happened while I was not recording. And these are going to be lateral braces for the table because right now it's got a little bit of a weevil wobble. It's not terrible, but these will take care of it. Stay tuned. Alright, so we did a test fit for all this good stuff, and it went pretty well. The majority of it lines up perfectly. There's one or two little spots we gotta tweak. Like I said a little bit ago, made these, and this one. I'm gonna go right there, chop that, and doing the weevil wobble, and just cut the very bottom off of this one. It was about, it's still hot. It was about an 1/8 inch longer than this one was. Now, just gotta clean it up a little bit. Ow. Smash. So, yeah, a little bit of grinding. Wish I would have remembered to take a video of me getting this back out from underneath the desk. Because, oh my god, it's ridiculous. I'll try to remember to take a video of putting it back in. You guys will probably laugh at my demise. So that's my close enough. So yeah, that's what we got. We're almost there.
sensible.
Goddamn microphone. Okay, take two. Today was kind of chaos, but I think we're past that point now. Brian's going to be here in a little bit with the gauge cluster, and we'll be able to throw that in the truck and see what happens. And now I have the opportunity to get back onto this. Didn't even have the chance to look at it this morning, let alone touch it. Got to weld that on both sides, clean it up so it's seamless, do some stitch welds there. Same thing on that side, then we're good to do a weeble wobble test. Should be a lot better. Yeah, back in business.
Now that this Battlestar Galactica of a desk is finally complete, we can take it inside and screw it into the wooden part of the desk. you go, bros. Whole bunch of episodes of that, but the video editing desk is finally complete. That's kind of my standard to build and stuff. It's got to be cool for me to like it. Thanks for watching. Leaving comments. Like and subscribe. Check us out at cougarhousegarage.com. Check us out at Facebook, cougarhousegarage.com. Check out our Instagram, cougarhousegarage.com. And we'll see you guys in the next video.